Hello, this is Hyun. In this video, I'm gonna talk about 3 things you need to know before you meet Korean friends. So it's over 400 subscribers. I wish I could read all of your names. I really thank you for watching my video. So many of you are watching my video since you are interested in learning things about Korea, Korean culture, Korean people, Korean friends. In my opinion, as a Korean, there are a few things that can be controversial and cultural conflicts you need to be careful about when you meet Koreans. So first, do not talk about Japanese stuff when you meet Korean friends, especially comparing two countries, Korean and Japan. Something like this Japanese stuff is much better than Koreans, where it might offend your Korean friends. For you to understand why it can make your Korean friends uncomfortable, you need to know a little bit about our history. So Korea had the Japanese colonial period from 1910 to 1945. 1945, Japan finally surrendered and Second World War came to a close. On the day Korea was liberated, what this Japanese colonial period means to Koreans? For Korean, this is sad, cruel, and shameful history that everyone learns in history book. Besides, there are still controversial issues between Korea and Japan that have not been clearly resolved since then. So I might say now there are two types of people. If it's Japan stuff, there are some people who hate it no matter what. Those people do not buy Uniqlo, Toyota, Sony. At the same time, there are people who like Japanese stuff a lot too. However, one thing in common, these two types of people pick Japan as a rival country. That's why when Korea and Japan sports game plays, Koreans go crazy. No Japan movement could be so popular here in Korea. So when you talk about Japan stuff in front of Korean friends, there are chances that some of topics related to Japan can bother your Korean friends. So please just don't, at least you don't know each other well. Second, generally speaking in Korea, age matters. Korea's age culture is a unique element of Korea. I think it's difficult to see in other countries. Age is one of the things that are considered very important throughout social life and can be seen as a rank given from birth. The age rank may be pushed back when there are other indicators that can determine the rank within the organization, such as the military class, and the company position, and the university senior and junior relationship. Most of cases, age is the first to be determined within social group. Even in Korean language, there is a concept that clearly distinguishes between the honorific language and informal speech due to the age of difference of 1 to 2 years. That's what you will find very difficult when you learn Korean language. Here is the funny thing that only happens in Korea. Let's see. This A person was born in 95. This B in 94. A and B have been friends for long since they were classmates in the same elementary school. Since they are friends, they talk informal way of speaking to each other. A and B have lunch together here. B invites another friend C to come over who was born in 94, same as B. Here the funny thing happened, A and B talk informal way of speaking since they have been friends for so long. Even A was 1 year younger than B. However, when C joins this lunch, C may think, why A talks so casual to B? A will think over the situation, should I treat him as an older brother or a friend? This is awkward, nobody talks eventually. In Korean way of expression of this kind of situation, we say genealogy is twisted. So what I want to say, if your Korean friend is younger than you, you might be more casual. If you're younger, you might ask your Korean friend, should I respect you more? 3. Don't be too straight, have nunchi. This is probably the most difficult cultural concept you will find in Korea. Generally, Koreans do not speak so straight, then how do we know what people mean? There can be misunderstanding or misinterpretation. Korean use a lot of nunchi. I found one article about nunchi in New York Times. I think it describes well. Let's see what it says. I was born in the United States and raised in an English-speaking household. My parents spoke Korean with each other. It was great for secret conversation, but not with me and my siblings. Nonetheless, some Korean words were impossible to escape. One of the first I learned was nunchi. Literally translated, I measure. Nunchi is the art of sensing what people are thinking and feeling and responding appropriately. It's speed reading a room with an emphasis on the collective and not on specific individual. It might be the most important word I ever learned. There is a Korean expression, half of social life is nunchi. You need nunchi to get along with people, to get what you want out of people in a purely pragmatic sense, and to protect yourself from danger. Nunchi emphasis speed. If you are skilled nunchi practitioner, Koreans don't say you have good nunchi. They say you have quick nunchi. Maybe you have nunchi already. Do you sense when a host secretly wants you to leave? Do you accurately sense when danger are near before your friends do? Then you probably have quick nunchi. And when a work meeting is about to end, do you jump in with, I just have one more question? Do people roll their eyes when you speak? Then you need to work on your nunchi. You might well wonder if nunchi is so great, why isn't the world doing it already? Well, aspects of nunchi are horrifying to the 21st century Western mind. The opposite of what we teach our children, nunchi requires that you admit the value of collectivism, of introversion, and above all, of never passing up a good opportunity to shut up. Does Korea society really need more nunchi than other countries for social life? Here is an empirical study that provides clue to this. Professor Michelle Gelfand, an American cultural psychologist, has been steadily publishing papers for nearly a decade, investigating how intangible norms such as deserve to be are enforced in each country. She introduced the concept of tightness in the research process. The tight culture means the stricter social norms are followed in the society, and the loose culture means the looser social norms are followed. To explain more, a tight society is a society with stronger unwritten social norms and low tolerance for individual distinctive behavior. In one word, society that needs nunchi a lot. A loose society is a society with weak norms and high tolerance for individual behavior. It's a society with a high degree of individual freedoms. Through a survey of the people of 33 countries, she quantified how tight a society is. This is the rank of the tight society. Korea is number 5 out of 33 countries. Japan is number 8. Chinese is number 9. America is number 23. It was interesting to find out this research. Korea society is more tight than China, which is a socialist nation. Another study I found shows that the more tight social norms are, the lower the happiness level, the higher the depression disorder, the higher the suicide rate, where I found out the reason why Korea has been the highest suicide rate among OECD countries. So these 3 things you need to know before you meet Koreans. First, do not talk about Japanese stuff. Second, see if you're older than your Korean friends. Third, have nunchi. Your Korean friends might think you don't have to because you're a foreigner. But I think if you really want to mingle with a real Korean society where you have to, I think you should know. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoy, please hit the subscribe button. I will catch you guys in the next video with more Korean stuff.